everybody. As I had mentioned in one of my posts, I am in the middle of a transaction that is going to be assuming a loan, in particular a VA loan, and this is a new one for me. I haven't been through this experience before, and from some of the other agents I've talked to, they haven't either, and it sounds like it's really not that common of a thing. So I thought I'd just kind of share a little bit of the experience so far and what's been going on. We're still at the very beginning, so I want to try and keep you updated as we go in hopes that it might help if you find yourself in this scenario. So first of all, I think really from what I understand is the assumable loan scenario mostly plays out when there's something like a family member passes and leaves a house to someone, and if it still has a mortgage, they can then assume the loan. There's some other scenarios I would imagine that would play into that, but what we're experiencing now is because the interest rates have gone up. If we're looking at houses like the one I'm working on now that was purchased a few years ago when the interest rates were, and particularly on a VA loan, were 2%, 3%, compared now to 6-7% is what we're looking at. Beneficial if you can partake in that assuming of a loan, of one of those loans. So we found a home, and they were not marketing that it had an assumable loan, but we realized that the folks who were selling it were also in the service, and the folks I'm working with are in the service. So just through some background looking, we discovered that the type of loan that they have could be assumable. The big thing is it has to be approved by the VA, so it's not up to the bank. It's the VA has to approve the buyer and approve that the seller is able to have that loan assumed. So that's where we started, and we talked to the lender who's currently servicing the mortgage and got the ball rolling on their end. And the response that we got, this is coming from the seller's side, because they had to initiate the conversation and request the packet. So the response from the lender was, giving all these directions of what needed to happen, and it said, the assumable, the whole process could take like 120 days. So, nobody was counting on that. That seemed really high, but again, hadn't been through this scenario, so not sure. Through a little more digging, we found out, normally it's between 45 and 90 days, so that's a little better. And so the sellers, initiated things on their end, and we're told, okay, it might take us a week to get you the packet that you need to sign and then have the buyers sign. Well, they got it the next day, so that's a good sign. So they're currently doing what they need to do, and then they're gonna get with me, and I'm gonna get it over to the buyers so they can fill out their portion, and then it all has to be ink signatures, and then we mail it back up to the lender, to their corporate office, and they take it from there. And then the buyer, I'm guessing, really starts on their end with the qualifications and everything. Now here's the kicker, because we did look at a couple other houses that were marketing an assumable loan, and so obviously there's a certain balance remaining on the loan, which is most likely significantly less than what the market value of the home is and what the list price of the home is. So we were in a scenario where the loan's assumable, and there's let's just say they're asking, or the remaining balance on the loan is $320,000, but the list price and market value is $500,000. So the buyer would have to have that cash to cover the difference. We explored the idea of doing a second mortgage to take out the amount to cover that difference, but of course, because a second mortgage is not in first position, if the buyer were to default, then the original mortgage, the first position mortgage, is the one that would get taken care of, and the second mortgage would just, it would just go to the wayside and they wouldn't get their money. So, of course, not surprisingly, the banks did not want to offer a second mortgage. So just keep that in mind. If you do run into this experience when you're doing an assumable loan, make sure that your buyer, or if you're the buyer, make sure that you have that cash to make up the gap between the remaining balance on the loan and the agreed upon purchase price or list price, whatever you're dealing with. So that's where we are right now. So far, so good. Like I said, we're not that far into it, but both sides are really trying to work together to make it happen. It's both military families, so they understand what each person is dealing with, and the agent representing the listing has been awesome so far, and so hopefully it all continues on the same path and it does not take 120 days, but we'll keep you posted. So hopefully that helps, and if you are a buyer right now and you're interested in this option, give me a call. We can kind of talk through it, and of course talk to your lender, because they'll have much more accurate information. I'm definitely not pretending to be a lender, but I'm just sharing my experience so far with this. But I'd be happy to talk with you and work with you if you're looking for a house. It's still a good time. Prices are leveling out a little bit and it's not quite as competitive, so there's more options available. So if you need to buy a house, it is a good time. Don't let the interest rates scare you off. There's ways to work around that. So have a great afternoon, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help.